Hello everyone, my name is John, I'm the Geeky Fanboy, and it is finally time to come back to DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Not too long ago, I wrapped up Season 6, and now it is already time to wrap up Season 7. So, as some of you may know, if you've seen some of my other videos, Legends of Tomorrow has become one of my favorite shows to watch in the past 2 years. It's like one of the shows I binge watched during the first big lockdown we had here. And since then I've grown very, very fond of the show, even though I haven't seen any of the other like Arrowverse superhero shows. This is the only one I know and have seen. But it's become one of my favorite comfort shows to watch. So naturally, I'm going to give you all my thoughts on Season 7 now that it's wrapped up after 13 episodes. Naturally, there are going to be spoilers. I'm going to cover the whole season. I might also mention stuff from previous seasons, who knows? Just so you know, here is your spoiler warning. So I'm going to do this like I did last time. At first I'm going to give you some of my general thoughts and opinions on the season, how I thought they handled the stories and the characters, you know, just some general impressions to get the whole thing going. Then I'm going to cover some of our main characters, some of the characters who got some special focus maybe this season or who got some new character development. And then at the end I'm going to highlight some special episodes that I enjoyed very much. So that's going to be the structure for this video, so let's go. Okay, so general thoughts on Season 7. I enjoyed it a lot. I think I enjoyed Season 7 even a bit more than Season 6, if I might say. So not that Season 6 was bad, but I'd say this one was pretty strong. It was a very emotional season, I would argue, especially like the last couple of episodes now. It got me really emotional. I mean, I know I'm an emotional viewer, but, you know, some of the stuff that came up in this season, it got me really going in a good way. Some of the character developments were very interesting. We got some beautiful interactions between some of the characters, and I just thought they handled it really well. It felt like a very personal season, since, you know, all of our characters are stuck in one time period. I think it was an excellent idea to go and do that because, you know, they're always trying to come up with something new as a setting for each season, and this time it is that they are stuck, well, mostly, for most of the season, they're stuck in one time period, or like they can't just travel willy-nilly everywhere they want to go. And I think that's great because it sort of pushes the legends back, and they're sort of pushed into a corner, and they just have to handle the situation with what they're given, basically. They're just stuck in the 1920s, and now they have to go and just manage the situation. I think that was great, because that gave the characters, you know, all kinds of different opportunities and possibilities to do all kinds of weird stuff. For example, they gave Nate finally a bit more focus again, because, you know, he is our knowledgeable historian, and he's like, okay, I know who these people are, I know what's going on here, I can kind of handle the situation. I thought that was great, because that gave Nate a reason to, you know, do stuff, since he wasn't really that big of a character in Season 6. We also get a handful of new characters again. First up, of course, human Gideon, and naturally I'm going to talk about the characters later, but human Gideon, wonderful. I love the actress who plays her, and I think she's a wonderful addition to the team. And of course we also get Matt Ryan's new character, Gwyn. I love that man, he's precious, and I'm so glad Matt Ryan gets to stick around and play a completely new and different character. Wonderful. And I think it's also neat that he has to do with time travel, so that makes sense. We get some new-ish villains, which is actually I kind of like, because the villains feel much more personal this time, you know, with evil Gideon and the evil legends. At first I thought they were going to go with, oh no, they're bringing Bishop back. Is Bishop going to be the bad guy again for this season? But no, not really. They kind of go against that, even kill Bishop off. They kill Bishop off in one of the episodes, and then it's just evil Gideon and the evil legends, which I think is very interesting, and also probably the reason why everything feels a bit more personal, because, you know, it's the legends basically fighting against themselves, fighting against a version of Gideon. And since, you know, Gideon is now human, she's also kind of conflicted with what's going on. And I just really, really like that. We have, like I said, new characters. We also have some new developments in between character relationships. Some of them good, some of them, I don't want to say bad, but interesting choice. We're going to come back to that. But overall, I think we had a good mix of, you know, new character relationships, new character introductions, old characters doing new things. Overall, I also think most of the episodes were great. There was really good pacing. I think it was a great mix of, you know, single story episodes that were focused on like one thing, but there was also a good mix of like overarching stories. So I think it was good that we sort of had single episodes or episode stories here and there, but it all sort of tied back to the overarching story, and you never really forgot what was actually going on. So I think that was a really good mix. So overall, my general thoughts on season 7 are very positive. I do hope they're going to announce season 8 soon, because I don't want to leave it at that. Because that ending, I want like a Prison Break season for season 8. I mean, there just has to be. But overall, I think season 7 was strong, stronger than season 6. I would argue maybe also even stronger than season 5. I don't know, but I would argue that Legends of Tomorrow is still going strong, and I had a lot of fun with season 7. Okay, so that's it for my general thoughts. Let's cover some of the characters. First up, Gideon, human Gideon, and also Gary, naturally. So, human Gideon is a fantastic idea. I love her so much. Like, I like how she fits right in there, because you feel like you know her. Gideon has been around since the very beginning. You know who that is. You know this woman. But at the same time, it's interesting to watch her, you know, sort of struggling to adjust with this new situation. How she's sort of a computer, but a computer that is now human. And I like to see her sort of adjusting to this new situation where she's like, I know all of you, and this shouldn't feel different, but it kind of is, because she has never been human before like this. So it was kind of interesting to see how she adjusts to the situation, which is even more interesting once you put evil Gideon in there as well, who is not human, but acts very much as I would argue, our major villain for this season. And I think it's a very good and interesting contrast to sort of have good Gideon, who's now human and hanging out with legends, and on the other side you have evil Gideon, who's making all those evil android robot legends. And I just think it's a good contrast, and I think it was very interesting to see them interact, especially like in the second half of the season, because you can see Gideon struggling with her responsibilities, with her new feelings for the legend. So I sort of liked how they contrasted this, you know, this very you know, objective, harsh, computer, unemotional side of Gideon, and they contrast this with like this new human, emotional, caring side of Gideon. And I like that she isn't she's very flawed. She's absolutely adorable. She is, and she knows all the things, has the ideas. It's fantastic to like sort of see her banter with all the other legends like in person now. At the same time, especially when you see her interact with evil Gideon later, you see that she can still be influenced. She's like, okay, I like the legends, they're my friends and I love them, but I also have to protect the timeline because that's my job. That's what I've initially been created for by Rip. I have to protect the timeline, and the legends often are a problem when you try to fix the timeline, because the legends create many of the problems within the timeline. So it was very interesting to like see the struggle there. And overall, like I said, I think Human Gideon is a wonderful addition. I hope she's going to stick around for a long time. I love the actress who plays her. I think she does a very good job balancing this. You know, it's sort of reminiscent a bit of Data in Star Trek a bit, where, you know, you have a very human-looking computer person who's adjusting to, you know, learning what emotions are and learning how to interact with people. It's a bit like Data. Like I thought that was quite cute in some places. Even though Gideon arguably adjusts to human life much easier, much quicker, which we also see in her relationship with Gary. Now, I did not expect that they were going to... First of all, I was not expecting that they were going to give Gideon, like, a relationship almost right away. But, I mean, why not? It's part of the human experience, I guess, for many people. Not for all people, but for many. It is very unexpected, but it's kind of cute. And the show also kind of acknowledges in one episode that, you know, the relationship is weird. The legends feel weird about the relationship. They're like, you know, we like each other. And I think it's unfair that you all got your stuff going on. You think our relationship is weird while we're just having fun. And they're like, you know what? Fair, you're right. And that's how I feel about it. Also, I think it's cute that, come on, let's give Gary some love. That man deserves a nice, cool, stable relationship. And it was cute to see them together, and it feels a bit weird maybe in the beginning, but and you feel like, how would that even work? But surprisingly enough, it does. They are a cute couple, and Gary helps Gideon in her journey to become more human, to understand her new feelings and her struggle with being human. And I don't know, it was just very cute to see it. So I hope they're gonna stick with that relationship. Speaking of unexpected relationship, let's talk about a trio of characters: Spooner, Astra, and Behrad. Now, you've heard me talk about it in my previous video on Legends of Tomorrow, but I have to repeat it. Spooner and Astra, best relationship in the show. The genius who came up with this pairing, thank you, because these characters have such amazing chemistry, and they've realized that in season 6, and they continue it now in season 7. Just like Spoon and Astra, absolute besties. It's brilliant because they contrast each other so well, but still work together in such a brilliant way. And it gets even better when in the early episodes of the season, Astra is responsible for creating Human Gideon, adding sort of an extra character to this chemistry. And now they become this sort of adorably chaotic trio of 3 ladies. That was so much fun to see, and I think Gideon added some excellent chemistry there to this couple. And I love the special bond between Astra and Gideon, since Astra is basically Gideon's mum. I think you could argue, this occasionally shines through, that Astra is very protective of Gideon and sort of feels maybe like this motherly bond towards her. And I like that you could see that it wasn't just like a thing that Astra did and they're like, oh, okay, guess we're gonna run with it, but that they actually focus on it and say, you know, Astra just created a human being, basically. So we should explore the feelings there. And I like how I did that. Like I said, Spooner and Astra continue to be the bestest of friends throughout this season. But their relationship, however you want to put it, is interrupted, disturbed by a new, also unexpected relationship. Astra and Behrad. Now, did anyone see this coming? I don't think so. It's not like it's bad. And I've said in my previous video on Legends of Tomorrow that I want more focus on Behrad, because Behrad is an adorable character. But Astra and Behrad, I just did not see it coming. I just did not see it coming. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I also don't love it. It's like one of those typical Legends of Tomorrow things where you're like, oh, they suddenly start pairing with characters, you know, where you're like, okay, that's suddenly a thing. I guess they decide to do that because relationships, which is a thing Legends of Tomorrow keeps doing. Sure. Especially since after they introduce that they have feelings for one another, they don't really hang out that much or don't really do couple stuff. Like, we see them kiss and hug occasionally after they admit that they like each other. And that's it. I mean, I appreciate that it's sort of maybe taking it slow, you know, I totally get that. But I feel like the writers kind of threw this in there and then it's sort of gone for the rest of the season. So I hope that they explore the relationship between these two characters more hopefully in a season 8. Maybe I could grow to love it. I don't know. Like I'm definitely open to it. I mean, I like these two characters together, and I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad Behrad is getting more focus. I was maybe hoping previously from season 6 that Spooner and Astra were. But you know, good friends is still good, and if getting a weird Behrad and Astra relationship means that I get confirmed asexual Spooner, I'll take it any day, because let's talk about this. There is an episode, which is very good by the way, also for other reasons, in which Sari and Spooner have a conversation where they're like, okay, who would you... They basically play like fuck, marry, kill or something like that, and Zari's like, okay, the 3 guys, and Spooner's like, nah, not really my thing. She's like, okay, how about the 3 girls? She's like, and Spooner's like, nah, no, I don't really like anyone that way. And Zari immediately picks up on it and is like, oh, okay, so I think you could be asexual. And Spooner's like, okay, what does it mean? And we get just like a very quick, basic explanation of it. And Spooner's like, huh, yeah, you know what? I think that's what I am. And you know, it's not even a huge focus of the episode, but I cried, if I'm being honest, just like a teeny bit when they had this conversation, because I did not expect them to throw this kind of representation out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spooner might be the first character in like a superhero show to be confirmed ace. It's like my heart was just, oh my god, thank you. It was just so pure, so adorable. I'm living for this. I love that they threw it out there, explained it quickly so that also the audience knows what's going on. They didn't like overly focus on it. They didn't exaggerate anything. They just threw it out there, confirmed it. That's it. And that's how I love it. It's just Spooner getting confirmed to be the thing, and they don't dwell on it any longer. That's just, you know, stuff thrown out there, so just, you know, it's sort of like, you know, a new detail you learn about the character. But they don't dwell on it. And that's exactly what I want. Now, I think they leave the back door open for Spooner to still be romantically attracted to other people. That's sort of what it seems like at the moment. We'll see if they do anything with that. But for now, I'm just so happy that they threw this out there. And, you know, this kind of makes up for the weird Astra Behrad stuff, I guess. But, you know, and then, like I said, I'm not shitting on the relationship. And, like I said, I'm hoping that with this introduction of the new relationship that especially Behrad gets a bit more focus now. Because my boy is such a cool character, but I feel like the writers don't always know what to do with him. But, you know, it's fun seeing him now interact with Astra a bit more. It's always fun to see Behrad interact with his sister. The sibling energy is great, especially in that one episode where I teach Nate about all their families and cultures, customs. That was really cute. So it was cute to see, like, with Spooner, Astra, and Behrad, to see new sides of their characters. And we got some unexpected ace representation, which is always good. Now let's talk about our two favorite girls real quick, Sara and Ava. Sara and Ava don't get as much focus this season as they did last season, which is understandable since, you know, season 6 was all about them finally getting married at the end of the season. So it's kind of understandable that they wouldn't have as heavy of a focus this season, but they're still the power couple you love, co-captains for life. It's just so wonderful to see them slide into this routine very easily. They're now married. Nothing's really changed that much. They still care. They still care for each other. They look after each other. They're co-captains. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant. They are the best couple. It's just wonderful every time they're on screen. What I like, what I did, especially with Sara in this season, is that she's allowed to be more vulnerable. I feel like I mean, I always like it when especially like sort of tough characters are shown to have a vulnerable side, and I think we see this especially with Sara in this season, especially when we find out that she's the one who's pregnant in the finale. And there's this wonderful scene when she basically reveals to Ava that she is pregnant, when she just sort of she has a bit of a meltdown, runs away, hides under a blanket, and Ava just comes in and tries to comfort her, slips under the blanket, and Sara tells her that she's pregnant. And the support and the emotions and everything there is so sweet, so endearing. It's just so heartwarming. I love these two women together so much. This is the kind of healthy couple relationship you want to see on telly, and it's just so wonderful to see them interact. Now, speaking of Sara, she loses her superpower. She loses her invulnerability. Now, I was actually going to say that I'm so glad that they don't ignore Sara's invulnerability that they've given her, because, you know, Legends of Tomorrow has the tendency to throw in a lot of weird stuff everywhere and then maybe kind of forget about it a bit. But with her invulnerability, they didn't forget about it. It actually becomes a bit of a you know, plot device in some of the episodes, which I'm also going to mention later. But at the end of the season, they take the invulnerability away from her because the baby's taken, has adapted or something. The baby's taken it, basically, because weird alien DNA, which is also the reason how Sara got pregnant. It's weird. It's Legends of Tomorrow. We're all used to it. Come on. But I don't know, I feel about it, they take invulnerability away so quickly. I'm assuming it doesn't come back once the baby is born. Maybe the baby has invulnerability. If it's taken her powers, maybe the baby's born with a vulnerability. That would be kind of cool, actually. But I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, Sara, we had Sara for five and a half seasons without invulnerability, so she's still going to be great. I just thought that the idea of the invulnerability was a fun plot device they used, and I was glad that they didn't ignore it, but now it's gone again. But, you know, I guess that's how it is, and maybe, like Nate said, maybe we get a cool super ninja baby, so that's fine. Speaking of Nate, my boy Nate Hayward. I'm upset because he was one of my favorites. I kind of count him as an OG because he's been around for so long. I know theoretically since season 2, but come on, he's kind of an OG, legend. And especially since he didn't get focus in the previous season. But I'm so glad that they give him a bit more spotlight in season 7, especially during the final couple of episodes. Because Nate is such a good boy. Nate is such a good boy. I think he's a wonderful sort of comfort character. He's just wonderful to have around. He has great energy and chemistry with all of the other legends. I know Ray hasn't been around in a while, but Ray and Nate's friendship was my absolute favorite friendship in the show while I was there, and showed why Nate is such a great character. And now he leaves at the end of the season. but he gets to be an absolutely bloody legend for absolute realsies in the finale when he goes in to save Gwyn's boyfriend Alan and steals up and just like gets through there. And I thought for real he was going to die. I was already starting to cry as he like went in there and like got by the mustard gas and the steel started to sort of like melt off or whatever. And I'm like, they're not doing this. They're not killing off Nate, or they can't do that. I was so prepared they were going to do that. I'm so glad they didn't. I'm so glad he didn't die and that he got his happy ending. He doesn't have his steel powers anymore. Granted, the show didn't really use them that much in the past. Just saying, but it's gone now, and now Nate kind of looks a little bit like Jonah Hex in the face, but actually kind of suits him, looks a bit badass. Who knows, Zari's maybe going to be into it. But it's a great sort of final legendary moment for Nate. And then he leaves Zari. So Zari 2.0 gives him the air totem, so he can go and live with his Zari in the air totem and just do his thing and write his book and be happy. And I'm so glad my boy finally gets to be happy and live with Zari, because that's what I've been waiting for the entire time, just him happy ending with Zari. Thank you. I am wondering if he might get cameos in future episodes. Maybe. Who knows? Could happen. I would like to see it happen. We don't know. But I just I'm sad to see Nate go. Like I said, he was one of my favorites. He's going to be missed. And he, especially since he showed such great qualities again this season, he had very like sort of captain-ish vibes this season, which, you know, is helped to do by the fact that evil Nate was actually the captain of the Waverider. And the actor did a fantastic job playing this very weird, exaggerated version of evil Nate. But also, like, good Nate, normal Nate, I think, had some great moments throughout the season, sort of showing how he could theoretically also be the captain if Sara and Ava weren't around. And I really like that he was sort of sliding into this leader role as well again this season, after not getting to do so much in season 6. And I think it's a good exit point for him. Naturally I would have loved to have him around for another season, but I had already kind of expected, since they were really heavily leaning into the Nate is going to move into the air totem to be with Zari, I had kind of already expected to be like, okay, probably gotta write Nate out of the show so he can go live with Zari. And that's how it's happened now. I'm upset, I'm sad, because I liked him a lot, but I think it's a good exit for him. And Nate was one of the great ones, and he deserved his happy ending, which he got, so I can't really complain. And last, but by no means least, because I always leave the best and most interesting ones for last, Gwyn Davies. I just want to say, Matt Ryan's the best, and Gwyn is an absolute treasure. I love this man. I love him so much. I just want to hug him. So I'm so glad, first of all, I'm so glad Matt Ryan gets to stick around, because this man is such a fantastic actor. I'm probably going to come back to that, but Matt Ryan is such a good actor. I love him so much, and he gets to play a new character, and who is, I think, a very good contrast to the John Constantine character Matt Ryan played previously. I just want more people to acknowledge that Matt Ryan is a bloody brilliant actor, which you can just see in like I said, in this contrast between Gwyn and Constantine, how how they are completely different, even though I kind of think it's funny that they go with most of the people being like, he looks kind of familiar, can't place, and then it's Zario's like, are you kidding me? You brought someone who looks exactly like John. What are you doing? I thought that was kind of funny. But Gwyn is just as interesting as a character as Constantine is, I would argue, and he is such a wonderful addition to the team, I think. First off, I wish he had been introduced earlier, because I thought he was going to be like, you know, he's one of the new characters, he's one of the new legends, so I thought he was going to be introduced quite early. But I think he gets introduced in episode 5 or so. I wish he had been there a tad earlier, but once he's there, I took one look at him and was like, yes, I love him. I want to give this man a hug. He deserves a hug. And I just immediately fell for this man, because look at him. Just look at him. He's adorable. And you just want to protect him. And he's so good and precious. So, yeah, Dr. Gwyn Davies is wonderful. What I think is so great about him that he's a product of his time. He is from the 20s, even though he is the man who invents time travel, which is why he's important. But he's just a normal guy. He's just a normal guy from the 20s who gets roped into these fantastic adventures with that weird group of people. And I love this contrast when he meets the legends and has to hang out with them. And you can just immediately tell he's like, that to him everything is kind of weird and different, that he doesn't quite understand what these people want from him, how these people act, but he's just like sort of going along with it because, you know, they like him and they promise that they're gonna help him save his boyfriend. And it was just so much fun to see him, you know, get adjusted to his new surroundings, to this new group of people that all know who he is, but he has no idea who they are. And I just liked seeing this, like sort of seeing the contrast and sort of them occasionally butting heads over certain things. I wish we had gotten a bit more focus on him occasionally, because he's introduced to be a really important character. Like, he's the guy who invents time travel, you know, as in the thing they do every episode. Well, maybe not in this season, but you know what I mean. So, he's a pretty significant guy. But occasionally, I felt like they're sort of brushing him off, and he's like, you know, he's off building his time machine because it got broken again. I don't know, occasionally I was like, maybe it was just my impression, or because I just liked him so much and I wanted to see more of him. But occasionally I was like, why do we not get to see what Gwyn is doing? Why is Gwyn not getting more attention? I feel like he should get more attention. He's a new character and he's really important. I want to see Matt Ryan's face, god damn it. But when the focus does shift towards him, it's brilliant. His whole story with Ellen, Gwyn and Ellen. Just rip my heart out, Legends of Tomorrow. Why don't you just rip my heart out like 5 times in a row? But I kind of like, I know some people got upset about it, that Gwyn was conflicted about being gay, especially also in his relationship to, you know, with God, since he was seemingly raised Christian. And I know some people were a bit upset about that they were like, oh no, we're going with, the man from the past is tortured because God wouldn't want him to be gay and blah, blah, blah. But part of me is like, okay, yeah, I can kind of like that, get that, but a different part of me is like, you know what, I kind of appreciate it because, you know, we're so used to seeing the legends being from all different parts of the universe, from different timelines, being different species even. They're also open, and for them it's completely natural, as it should be. It's just no big deal. But you know, they just picked up a dude from the 1920s. Of course he would be much more conflicted about being openly gay. That just makes sense, and I kind of appreciate that the show acknowledges that, you know, yeah, the fact that he's gay is okay, but he himself might not feel about it because he is a product of his time. That's just what it was like. And they don't dwell on it. They have like one and a half episodes where he feels like that, and then he has a very beautiful conversation with Ava, who tells him, it's fine, I understand your feelings, but you loving Alan is the most natural thing in the world, because love is love is love. And he does overcome this. It's not like it's a major focus for like half the season. It's a part of his character which I think is very realistic and very understandable, and is something that he struggles with. But at the end of the day, as they say, love wins. And he invents, for God's sake, he invents time travel just to save the man he loves. Like, so at the end of the day, he saves his man, and they are presumably together. Which is also another reason why I need season 8, because I need to see Gwyn and Alan being happy together. God damn it, I just need that. There were so many moments when, especially like the past 2 episodes, where I was like, Gwyn, I just want this man to be happy. I just want this man to be happy. That's all I wanted. And I'm so glad that his story, his whole thing with Alan saving him and the fixed point, etc., was the focus of the finale. Because I didn't really expect them to like lean into it as heavily as they did. I thought it was going to be like, okay, this is like a major like subplot they solve on the side, but the finale is going to be about something else. But no, they actually run with, you know, Gwyn trying to save Alan is going to be the focus point of the finale, and everyone's going to try and help Gwyn get his boy. And I was really happy about that, and it was adorable. And they managed to save Alan. I wish we had gotten a bit more at the end there, at the very end of the episode, to sort of get a proper reunion scene between Gwyn and Alan. But you know, I'm just glad that these two finally found each other, that Alan is here. I'm wondering if Alan, like, does he get to stick around now? Because he's also getting arrested at the end of the final episode, and he's now hanging out with Gwyn. I hope Gwyn better stay a legend. Gwyn better stays on for at least one more season, because I need this man and I want him to be there. Which is why I'm wondering what Alan is going to do in the future, what kind of role he's going to play. Because it would be fun to have, you know, not just, again, like a cute couple, just, you know, it's cute, I want them there. But also, just like with Gwyn, I just want more characters to be there who are from a very different time. Like, not from the future, but from the past. Because I just love to see their perspective on everything they do. Which is what I hope we sort of get with Ellen as well. And I just love Gwyn so much, and I can't say often enough that Matt Ryan is a legend. Matt Ryan is not allowed to be such a goddamn good actor. Like, God damn it, that man made me cry like 3 times. There's this, I mean, I'm going to talk about the episodes in a minute anyway, but there is this beautiful moment in the final episode where Gwyn and Gary go and see what young Gwyn was doing during the First World War battle. And Gwyn's like, I was just a coward and I stood there and I did nothing. And then they go there and watch what happened. First off, good look on Matt Ryan. Short hair, mustache, look good. And then you see young Gwyn with another soldier, and the other soldier gets shot. And this is where Gwyn remembers not doing anything, just standing there like a coward. But then he sees what actually happened, like the repressed memory that he couldn't remember. And you see him holding this other soldier, just comforting him as he dies. And just the way Matt Ryan acted that, his face, his expression, his words. my heart couldn't take it. And it just goes to show that Matt Ryan, people need to stop sleeping on Matt Ryan. He is a fantastic actor. I need this man in more things. Which is again why I want Gwyn to stay around, because we need Matt Ryan's presence, because he is a treasure. Okay, and last off, a couple of episode highlights. There were a bunch this season. Like I said, I enjoyed season 7 quite a lot, even a bit more than season 6, so there are a couple of episodes I would like to highlight. The first one is the first episode, The Bullet Blondes, because, you know, Sara and Ava being badass gangsters is just fun, and it was so cool just seeing the gang being badass. That's just fun. I love it when the show gets all like sort of wacky hijinks and all that. I'm just loving it. That's when Legends of Tomorrow is at its best. Also, it's the we get the introduction of human Gideon, which is super dramatic, with Astra trying to repair the ship and then it just doesn't work, but then we get human Gideon. So that was definitely a very good starter episode. Next episode I would like to highlight is episode 3, which has a super weird title. It's episode 100. It's the anniversary celebratory episode. We see a bunch of old familiar faces from season 1. There's Leonard Snart. There's freaking Hawkman. I think I repressed that he was even on the show. But it was so, and Ray, of course, Ray and all the other people, and it was just, it's so cute. It's very fan servicey naturally, but that's what you want from an anniversary 100th episode, don't you? And the show delivers, and it gives you all the characters you want, it gives you all the character interactions, and they use it as character development for Gideon, which I think is a fantastic idea, and it was just such a wonderfully heartwarming episode to watch. Next episode highlight is episode 5. It's a mad scientist, because this is the episode where Gwyn gets introduced. And how could I not put it on here? Because they nail Gwyn's character first try when he appears. The first time you see him, you immediately get who this man is, that he's very sort of repressed and nervous, doesn't like to be touched, that he's probably got something to hide, that he's a bit fidgety, that he's very clever and smart, but very careful about what he's doing. They just nail his characterization, I think, right away. Also, again, some funny history hijinks ensue. They accidentally kill off Edison, which, you know, continues the trend of accidentally killing famous historical figures, which is fun, especially since, you know, Nate is there and he's like, oh no, I'm a historian, I killed off a bunch of famous historical people. That's not good. It's just fun seeing that. Next episode highlight is episode 7, A Woman's Place in the War Effort, which is a fantastic focus episode, again, for Astra and Spooner, especially so for Astra, since, you know, we see her work alongside all these other women, and how she feels like she wants to make a difference, she wants to change something, she wants to go against the racism these women experience during World War II. But what I kind of like what this episode does, it shows that, you know, Astra wants to do good. So many of these characters always want to do good when they try and change stuff like this, but it's not always that easy. That's also something that's being pointed out to Astra in the episode, that, you know, you totally understand why you would want to help, why you would want to change things, why you would immediately want to make things better, why you would want to make them the way you know them in modern times. But it's the past. It's not always that easy. And I like that this is pointed out to us without being weird or talking down to the audience, and that it also serves as a sort of lesson for Astra as well. And I think that was a very good episode to focus on. It also ends in a very dramatic way with, you know, the evil legends coming in. And I did not expect Bishop to sacrifice himself. I did not expect them to just like kill him off and actually be the reason why the legends get to make an escape. But he sacrifices himself. And it was a very dramatic ending. Now, I tried so hard to think about, okay, which episodes do I want to highlight from the final couple of episodes? but I can't. I'm gonna be honest, episodes 10 to 13 are so good and work so well as a sort of large finale plot. The first one is episode 10, Fixed Point, which is just a great Sarah-focused adventure episode where they focus on, you know, what I spoke about earlier, Sarah being a bit more vulnerable, Sarah showing what she can do. They also use her invulnerability as a plot device because that works really well, how she gets to do this over and over and over again. Just fun. I love it. That's the kind of classic Legends episode that I love. It's also the episode where Spooner is confirmed to be Ace, so of course it has to be a highlight episode. And also the return of the Reverse Flash, which I did not expect at all, and then he dies, and it's actually kind of sad, but it was a fun surprise to see him back. Next episode is Rage Against the Machines. That's episode 11, and it's just a great clash of heroes and villains, the good legends, the evil legends, which are so wonderfully fun and overly exaggerated. I just loved seeing them clash. And it's also an episode where I think Gwyn just gets to shine because he gets to do all the military scheming because he knows what he's doing. He's done this stuff before, and I love how they give him the focus, and he just commands them like soldiers, and he's in his element, and I love seeing that. It was so much fun. Episode 12 is Too Legit to Quit. For some reason, that episode made me cry so much. I can't even really explain why, but sort of seeing all these characters watching their futures was weirdly emotional, endearing, kind of terrifying in some places as well, because you're like, is this really what's happening? Is this good? Is it bad? I don't know, it was just like a very, I thought, emotionally loaded episode. And you also feel like, okay, Gideon, the Gideons, are sort of they're doing their thing now, but evil Gideon feels kind of creepy. And you're like, oh no, I don't like what's happening here. And I don't know, it just made me cry, especially when towards the end, Alan comes onto the Waverider, and I was like, oh no, they did it. They bloody did it. They bloody did it. And you just see Gwyn so happy that he gets to see Alan. And I was just like, oh my god, my boy, he deserves this. He deserves all of this. And then they finally, you know, sort of embrace and even kiss, and you're so happy. And then it turns out he's fake. He's just a robot. And you're like, no. Why are you doing this to me, Legends of Tomorrow? Why? It just sets it up perfectly for the final episode. You know, all the drama, evil Gideon being weird. You think Gary is getting killed and all the other Legends don't know what's going on. And it's just perfect setup for the final episode. And the final episode, episode 13, Knocked Down, Knocked Up, which I literally watched right before filming this video, so there you go. I cried again like 2 or 3 times watching this episode. For some reason, it was a very emotional season and a very emotional finale for me, which is great because I love it when that happens. It's a very character-focused finale. It's all about the emotional drama, the badassery, the legends being bloody legends. Just so good. Like I already mentioned, Nate is an absolute badass in that final episode. The way he saves Alan, so good. I also already mentioned the pregnancy reveal. Just Ava and Sarah in this episode are so wonderful to watch, how supportive they are of one another, how they're working through this. We sort of get a glimpse at, you know, what would the Legends do if they did actually retire. They're still sticking around, they're still friends, and it's great to see Gideon really struggling and sort of being on this edge between good and evil. He's like, okay, I'm doing my job, but I also love these people, but what the people are doing, what my friends are doing is not good. but what am I doing? So that was a really good, like, sort of emotional conflict. And it all culminates in a happy ending, more or less, right up until we find out the guy who kidnapped the Waverider turns out to be a man called Booster Gold, who I did not know. I have to admit, who I did not know who that was. I didn't know who that was. Looked him up right away after finishing the episode. Was like, oh, okay. Sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to getting to know more about that man. And I know I've seen on Tumblr and on other on social media that people seem to be very excited about him. I can totally get that. So I hope we're getting more of that character in a hopeful season 8, right? And then just the way it ends, them getting arrested for the time crimes. You're like, you know what? Yeah, that would probably eventually catch up with them. And it's, again, just a cliffhanger that leaves you being like, I thought everything was fine. Why are you doing this to me? And now we're just waiting for season 8, right? Because season 8's definitely gonna happen, right? It gets the renewal, right? Right? Okay, so that's it for this very long review of Legends of Tomorrow season 7. What did you think of the new season of Legends of Tomorrow? Please do tell me down in the comments below what some of your thoughts and opinions are on this season, on the new characters, on everything. I would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks so much for sticking around. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. And I'll see all of you very soon. Goodbye.